Hello, everyone. How are you today? Welcome to the show. We are here on the wonderful Vixen Queen Productions Network. I am Malley. This is one of my forms. You guys will see other forms of me the more you watch. And hopefully, you enjoy the programming that we have here. Um, we don't do the same thing every week. It's just, it gets boring that way. So, we do a variety of programming, and hopefully, it's something you all enjoy. Tonight, we're doing a talk show about a particular subject that can be considered 18 plus. So, this show will probably end up getting age restricted, but personally, I don't care. I really want to do this, so we're going to do it. With that said, and no more further ado, I'm going to hop myself in this chair and we're going to get on with the show. So, enjoy. So, tonight, as I have stated, we are going to be doing a show with a more adult theme. Tonight, we are going to be talking about fetishes, BDSM, and a few other things related to sex in a non-traditional sense. So that's going to be the show. This is your last warning to turn this video off if you do not want to be involved in any type of subject matter in that way. Last warning. Seriously. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring up my first guest. She is one of my best friends, and she's a little bit new to the world of unorthodox sex. Her name is Arrow. Arrow, come on out.
Hello, everybody.
Alright, how's it going, Arrow?
It's good. How's your day been?
My day was shit. Quite literally. But that's a topic for another day.
Okay.
We're here now, and it's getting a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you know of the fabulous world of BDSM and alternative sex?
Not much really, other than I know there's like sex dungeons, paddles, bondage, and all that sorts of things of equipment, and how there's also women that like pay sell their services to people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's as far as I've gotten to know about that.
Okay. So, do you know what the difference between a kink and a fetish is?
I know one is about it's like a requirement, and the other is like it'll enhance it, but not that much.
Okay, so you are right. One is required to fully enjoy a active BDSM or alternative sex, as we're saying it, and one just if it's there, awesome, it'll enhance things, but it's not needed to really enjoy it. A kink is not needed to really enjoy things. It just adds to everything. So if you're doing kinky stuff, it's not required to get you to climax. Uh, a fetish, however, is something that is absolutely required in order for the person that is involved in it, or persons that are involved in it, to actually enjoy what they're doing. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean that they can not have normal sex without that fetish, but when they are doing fetish play, it's an absolute requirement that that happens. Otherwise, they won't be able to climax. And it'll just be a complete and utter just frustration fest. So that's the difference between a kink and a fetish. Okay. Is there any other questions that you would like to know that I can possibly give you insight on?
Mm. I've like I've recently like heard the word voyeur, or is it like somebody watches? I don't really sure what
Voyeurism.
like can you go
Voyeurism.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, so voyeurism is a person that enjoys watching a sexual act. It can be any kind of sexual act. It can be as simple as a person just getting completely naked and just laying about the house. They can view that as that being a sexual act. But as long as they're watching them, and in a lot of cases it's they're watching them and the person that's being watched is unaware or at least pretends to be unaware that the person is watching them. That's what gets them aroused and gets them off. Not all voyeurs are like that. Some voyeurs, like I am an exhibitionist, which is the opposite of a voyeur. Okay, now granted, I do love to watch. Don't get me wrong. I do love to watch, but I don't consider myself a voyeur because I'm more of an exhibitionist. I like being watched. I like it when like somebody's hiding in a closet somewhere, and I'm just doing whatever, naked or just playing with myself or being with a person, and there's just somebody else in the closet just kind of peeking through a crack, you know, watching, and I mean knowing that they're there. That's the big turn on for me.
Mhm.
I don't really like the is someone watching me or is somebody not watching me? I don't like that effect. Uh, but I love the fact, I love to know when someone's watching me. It increases everything so much more. But that's a kink because I don't need that, you know? So that's one of my kinks personally. Well, let's see here. What are some of the things that you've figured out that you've personally could see yourself doing? Not necessarily that you have, but something that you could see yourself doing.
I guess it's just what for me, like the thought of just watching people an intimate moment that does not involve me seems just arousing.
Okay, so you would consider yourself to be a voyeur in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But do you absolutely need to watch somebody in order to get aroused?
No.
So that's just a kink. You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm saying? So that's a kink of yours. Do you think you have any fetishes?
Fetishes being bound, having my legs bound is a must.
That's a must. Okay. So like if you're doing any kind of kink play or any kind of, alternative sex, you absolutely have to have your legs bound. Otherwise it just
Mm-hmm.
ruins it for you. Okay, so yes,
Mm-hmm.
that would classify as a fetish. And that's a good thing to know. Knowing your fetishes when you go into a sexual event is a must. It's an absolute must. And all the subs out there that are just getting into the lifestyle, trust me, explore as much as you can inside RP before you do it in like and when I say RP, I mean ERP in text form. Don't rush into anything on VR chat. Trust me, do not rush into anything on VR chat. It can seriously scar you emotionally and sometimes mentally. And I've seen people, even though I haven't been on VR chat that long, I was on Second Life for a very, very, very long time. and Second Life does have uh, its similarities to VR chat. Granted, you weren't inside the head of your avatar, but you could be. And they did have mouse look where you were in the head of your avatar, and it was the closest thing we could get to VR back then. It can happen. Do not rush into something in VR chat or in any other VR thing. There's Neros. Sorry, not Neros. Neos, and there's a couple other ones that have been popping up and gaining popularity, especially since the anti-cheat came in. But seriously, guys, go on Discord, meet some people there that are willing to teach you these things so you can express this stuff in a much more safer environment than an environment such as VR chat or VR, because the immersion is different and it will actually help you. So, with that being said, I'm going to bring on my next guest. My next guest is a good friend of mine. He has been a friend of mine longer than Arrow has. He was maybe the fourth person I got to meet on VR chat. And Rex, come on out here.
Hello. Hello, Malley. How are you?
Hey, hon. I'm doing good.
That's nice.
All right, Rex, how was your day today?
The usual, boring video games, stuff like that. Video
All right.
watching.
Well, you heard all the things that I was asking Arrow. So,
That I did.
what are your insights on those questions? We'll start out with you are, well, of course, you're now aware of the difference between a kink and a fetish, but before tonight, were you aware of the differences?
No, not really. And I heard one of them was something required. Didn't you guys say for BDSM? But
For any
I
alternative
did not.
sex, or mm-hmm.
I did not hear, because sometimes my ears are a bit shit. I did not hear the difference between the
A
kink
kink
and
and a fetish.
a kink and a fetish. So
Okay, so a fetish is required in order for one to enjoy a alternative sex session. And a kink is just something that you can do at any time, whether it's alternative sex or not, and it just heightens the situation. That's the difference.
yes.
All right, so I'm not entirely sure what your entire experience is in the BDSM or alternative sex world. So now I'm not asking for real life experience, but I would like some insight on some things that you might enjoy, or some things that you may think you would enjoy, or hell, you can even say things that you don't think you'll ever enjoy. This is an adult episode, so feel free to
would
say anything you
say,
want.
because there's not really a lot, because I don't look a lot into BDSM and stuff. Like, I knew what the word meant, but I don't know entirely all about it. But isn't, like, bondage is a part of BDSM, and from what I was hearing from you guys, dungeons, right? Sex dungeons.
Dungeons, yes. Sex
That would be
dungeons.
something I would never enjoy. I will say that.
Okay, well, have you ever been inside of a sex dungeon or seen a real sex dungeon? I'm not talking about the ones they put in porn. That shit is so fucking stupid. Anyway, but have you ever actually seen one?
Like I said, I don't research or anything like that, but it's
Okay.
because of, like, the name and everything like that. It's just, you know. it strikes me in kind of a way where
Right.
it's like it doesn't really sound intriguing. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, okay. So what a dungeon is, and a dungeon can be any room that you designate for alternative sex. It doesn't have to necessarily be BDSM. Um, I personally, when I've had rooms like that, because currently I don't have one in real life, but when I've had rooms like that, I called them my playroom. And when I was in a relationship with my mistress, who is sadly no longer with us, we had um, we had a play yard, and it was a room inside the house, but she called it a yard because I was both a puppy and a pony for her. Um, and it was just this really big, like, second living room in her house that when we were in there, that's when my role would shift into whichever uh, animal she wanted me to be, whether it was a pony girl or a puppy girl. And we kind of kept all the kinky stuff there. It didn't matter if it was torture or just the lightest kink you could possibly think of. Um, it's just that's your room to do the special kinky stuff. It's your room to store all that stuff so not everybody's seeing it. So like if you have not customers, if you're having guests come over, they don't have to see all that crap that you're into. You can just be normal people around them and have all that stuff hidden away. That's what a dungeon is. It's not necessarily something in stone with these crosses and, chains and stuff. I mean, granted, they could be,
Not,
especially if
it's
you're
not
into that
actually a
stuff.
dungeon.
But, right, it's
Is
not
what
a
you're
dungeon
saying. It's
in the
not actually
sense
a
that,
dungeon.
yeah, it's not a dungeon in the sense of like the medieval term of a dungeon. It's just a terminology. It's a term that we use because BDSM goes back so far into history. The terms just kind of stayed there. I mean, the word naru is a really, really ancient word, and all it means is kneel. But it's still used today. You know.
Okay. I was. I'm still getting my grasp on all the information, but to like shorten it down, it's like when you do something in one room and then you switch to another room and it's something else, or it's like you guys like are something else essentially. Like you're
Okay, so
somebody in
in
this
my own
room and
personal
then it's like
experience, in my own personal experience, outside of the play yard, I was pretty much just normal Mally. Granted, I had responsibilities as a sub, as a house sub, to keep the house clean, cook the food, do the laundry, all that stuff. But I didn't have to be on all fours or in my hoof boots outside of that room. So outside of that room, I got to be more me. Inside that room, I was more what my mistress wanted me to be at that time. It, and that's only in pet play. If it was like a slave master or a sub submissive, a sub dominant situation, it would be like when you go into your dungeon or your playroom, then that's when you get really subby. That's when the collar goes on. That's when the leash goes on. That's when you bow or you kneel or whatever your dominant wants. That's when everything gets more serious. Outside of that, you can still be dominant submissive, but it's more down toed and volume lowered. That way, people aren't looking at you like you're some depraved fucking freak. So, is there anything else before I bring in our next guest that you would like to know or that you would like me to clarify on?
no, not really particularly.
Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and bring out our final guest for the evening. He is a very, very sweet person. Gender fluid for the most part, unless I've got that incorrect, and he can always correct me. He is my VR son, and his name is Razor. Come on out, Razor.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, hun. How's it going? Oh, good.
I was falling asleep.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and sit in the chair.
Sure.
There you are. I actually need to take a small break. We are now back, and like I was saying, here is Razor. How are you doing today, Razor?
I'm just glad I'm at home.
Yes, yes, home is good. We all love home. Surprisingly, after the whole COVID quarantine thing, we still want to be home. So, you've been listening to this entire thing the entire time you were backstage. Do you have anything that you would like to add to the discussion? Anything that we may have gotten wrong, or things that you know about that maybe I haven't brought up yet, or things that you could correct me on?
You mean like a rope plushie?
Sorry, what?
Like a rope plushie.
Rope plushies, yes. We can bring up rope plushies. What
Which
about
version?
rope plushies? Which version? I personally don't know a lot about rope plushies. It's probably one of the few fetishes that I have never actually done. Or kinks rather, that I've never done. So you'd have to enlighten me a little bit.
Well, the two different versions are the ones that like to be tied up and suspended, and the ones that don't want to be suspended but love to be tied up.
Oh, you're talking. Okay, I thought you were actually talking about plushies, not suspension and bondage and so on.
They call them rope plushies. Or rope bunnies. Not a name.
There you go. If you would have said rope bunnies to begin with, I would have known exactly what you were talking about. Okay, so yes, rope bunnies. I personally am the type that likes to be suspended. I also like doing some suspension. I actually completely trained in the art of Japanese rope bondage.
I personally like to be floating up in the air.
That does make sense, considering you are submissive. I'm a switch. You are switch too, but I think you lean more towards the submission side, correct?
Yeah, I lean more towards being dominated, yes.
Okay. Excuse me, dang it, I have been coughing like hell since the ad break. So, is there a specific type of rope that you like? I know that some people like the rougher, coarser grades, and other people like the nice, soft nylon, and there's cotton rope, and there's like 200 different types of rope?
Mm-hmm. I prefer the more coarse.
Okay, so you like the old-fashioned, like, straw kind of rope.
I prefer it if when I'm struggling, quote unquote struggling, I like to feel the burn.
Okay, so it's more of the bringing masochism into the suspension. which is
Mhm.
great. I mean, I'm a sadomasochist myself. I'm being a switch. I venture on both sides of the fence. So, for those people that do not know what a masochist is and what a sadist is, or a sadomasochist, I will enlighten you all. So, a masochist is a person that enjoys certain types of pleasure that is derived from certain types of pain, and that can be on certain body parts or all over the body. Now, a sadist is a person that enjoys giving a masochist those types of pain. And you have to have the right sadist for the right masochist, because there's some masochists that say they're into pussy torture. So, like, they absolutely love their pussy, just beat the shit out of. I don't know why anybody would like that personally. Um, although the sadist in me actually really enjoys doing that to a woman. I don't know why, but it's just anyway. But yeah, so you have to have the right sadist for your masochism, and you have to have your so it just has to mesh. Because if it doesn't mesh, say you're a masochist that likes being whipped, okay, but your sadist likes, burning you or something like that. It doesn't work. I saw your hand go up.
No, I said whip. You said whip. I
Ah.
pointed at myself.
Okay, yeah. See, me, I like to be bit, I like to be scratched, I like to be strangled, things like that. And I need a sadist that enjoys those things. If I don't have a sadist that enjoys those things and they enjoy other things, then it just hurts. And when it just hurts, there's no fun in it. It's gotta be equal, you know. It's all about the finding the balance in your kink and in your fetish and in your alternative sex situations, because if you can't find a balance, you're just not going to enjoy it. And at that point, even though a lot of people don't want to admit it, it becomes rape. I don't care. There's these subs out there that think that because they're submissive, they're supposed to do everything their dom wants, regardless if they enjoy it or not. And personally, if you're one of those people, I get it. I was there myself for a really long time, but seriously, it's not good for your mental health. And I'm probably gonna get a lot of backlash for that. It's my personal opinion. I live in America. We're all entitled to our opinions as human beings, regardless of where you live. You are entitled to your own opinion, and people should respect that and not attack you for it. But I personally think that total power control is not a good thing. It shouldn't be done, but it does happen. And there are people that really, really enjoy it. But there's a lot of people that think they enjoy it, and then they end up emotionally and mentally scarred for the rest of their lives after those things end. And I'm just saying, please be careful. Really, really, really think about it before you give someone that much control over yourself. Excuse me, sorry. So, with that all being said, is there anything else that you would like to bring up?
Consent is key.
Consent is key. Regardless of what you think BDSM is, it's not force. Okay? Yes, your dominant is going to have you push your limits. Your dominant is going to just grab you and throw you against the wall and start making out with you sometimes, or getting further and further into it. But if you don't like it, you can say no. There's a reason safe words exist. A safe word is that magic word that you can say that stops everything. And any respectable Dom would respect a safe word and they would immediately back off, make sure that whatever it is they're doing is fully stopped, and then comfort their submissive. If they do not do this, they are a bad, bad Dom, and you should run for the hills. Seriously, those people that do not do any kind of aftercare or any kind of respect for the safe word, those people are horrible, horrible people. And honestly, they're in it for the wrong reasons. They're just there to hurt people and get what they want. And they have no respect for the level of power a submissive gives them. So remember, always consensual. Always make sure you have a safe word. And in certain situations, like with choking or gagging, you have a safe motion. Something that you can do. There always has to be some way for you to communicate with your Dom that if you're not enjoying it, you can do something or say something and they'll stop. Okay? I can't stress that enough. So, with that, is there anything else?
No.
No? Okay. So we'll be right back. And welcome back. More memes. Pretty sure some of them were funny. Maybe some of them were kinky. Who knows? So anyway, this is going to be our last portion of the show. We're going to do a group discussion between all four of us, and then we'll do final thoughts and everything like that. So, to the couch, we have our three guests, Razor, Rex, and Arrow. And of course me, your host. So you all have heard everything that's gone on so far today in this episode. What are your guys' individual thoughts on what I said right before we went to break?
For me, the suspension for the rope bunny play was something new I didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know about rope bunny.
Oh, there are a lot of kinks and fetishes and all things like that. I mean, the list is, I mean, knife play, breath play, blood play, toilet play. There's a whole bunch of them. The point is, there are so many fetishes. What I was talking about before wasn't necessarily the rope play. What I was trying to talk about was the consent part and safe words and things like that. That's what I wanted to get everybody's opinion on.
I support consent.
Yeah, I also support consent.
Consent.
Yes, consent is a very, very important part. Safe words are also very, very important. Especially for people that are just starting out and trying to find out what they like. Because you may think, yes, pineapple isn't a perfect experience, and it's the most used. Pineapple is the most used safe word in the world. It literally is. It is the most widely used safe word in the entire world. Mine personally is blueberries, but you know, that's me. But yeah, so if you're just starting out and you're trying to figure out what you're into, make a safe word. Make it something that is completely out of the wall, something you would never say during a sexual act. It's very important, especially, like I said, especially when you are starting out, because you could think you're into something, and then when you actually get to do it, in real life versus RP or something like that, you can instantly be turned off by it the second you start to do it. Trust me, I used to be a completely no limits slave in Second Life, and then when I got my opportunity to try to be a no limit slave, it was completely and utterly wrong for me. So I can't drive it home more. Safe words are a must. Okay. Is there
Or
anything else you
create a
guys would
safe
like
word.
to
Or
go
create a
ahead?
safe word if you're having sex and something goes wrong.
Well, if you're having normal sex and something goes wrong, you just scream stop. During kinky shit, you might say stop, but you don't really mean stop. Your brain's in weird places and things like that's why we create safe words, because sometimes in the immense pleasure, your body wants one thing, your brain wants another, and your emotions want something completely different. And only when all three of those things really do snap and come together, screaming stop's not going to stop a dom. It's just not. Especially
You
if
could be
you
having regular sex and then say stop, but also not mean that.
you're right, but at the same time, most people that
So,
are having regular sex, if they hear the word stop, they will freeze 100%. I mean, every person I've been with, if they said stop at any point, regardless if we were doing something kinky or if we were doing just regular old plain vanilla sex, if I heard the word stop, I would literally just stop. I would move completely out of the way and be like, okay. And they go, no, I mean, I didn't want you to stop. I just wanted you to move or do something. I just said the wrong word. Yeah, it becomes like awkward situation, but you can always build back up. But if you hear the word stop during regular vanilla sex, stop. Just stop. It's if you don't stop during that, it's there's a problem with you. you know. I mean, only when it's agreed upon. I mean, that's one of the things with alternate sex is you agree that stop doesn't mean stop. But if someone doesn't agree that stop doesn't mean stop, it still means stop. Period. Even if it's a mistake when they say it, they'll correct themselves. But stop means stop unless two consenting parties agree that stop doesn't mean stop. You see what I'm saying?
And what I wanted to say about the whole dom, good doms, most good
Mhm.
doms will ask you your safe word before they become your dom.
Before they do anything. Yeah. That's
Mhm.
that's one of the first three questions that are asked when you are finding doms. What's your safe word? What are your hard no's? And where are your most sensitive spots? Those are the three questions that you should be asked by any good dom, period. Because your most sensitive spots are spots that they are not going to go hard on unless you repeatedly want that. And then they'll change it. But a really good dom will ask those three questions every single time they meet a new sub that they're interested in taking under. Period. I mean, that's the basic questionnaire right there. Safe word, hard nose, sensitive spots. And if you haven't had a dom ask you those three questions, they're not real doms. So, anything else you guys would like to discuss as a group? Anything that we've already covered that maybe you heard something and then wanted to put your 2 cents in, but you weren't in the big chair, so you couldn't. Anything like that?
I guess I do have another question, though, if that's okay.
Shoot. That's what we're here for, to
I've
ask
heard
questions
of
and to learn.
brats in brat tamers. What's that about?
Okay, alright. So, brat tamers are doms that enjoy subs that are complete and utter brats. Now, a brat is a sub that likes to push their doms. They like to be defiant towards their doms because they find it fun, and then they enjoy the punishment that comes with it. But they also enjoy the frustration their dom goes through because their dom is expecting them to do as they're told, and then they don't. You know, or they'll do it, but they'll do it in like this sassy, like half-cocked way that isn't like them actually submitting. Me personally, I absolutely hate brats. I've never enjoyed a brat sub that I've ever had my entire life. I have never been a brat. I don't think that's me personally. I don't think that's a good way to be a submissive. It's more like people that do that are weekend subs.
I
But
I will put
go
in
ahead.
hearing you describe that. Literally, I don't like that. I don't even like it when you
Yeah,
describe
yeah.
it. So
Yeah, it's a real fucked up relationship, but there are people that enjoy that type of relationship. That's why those things exist. Brat tamers love to tame brats, and brats love to be brats. And there are, once again, it goes back to that finding the person you're compatible with. If you're a brat, find somebody that likes brats and likes to, punish them and do all that stuff. If you're a masochist and you like, your feet poked with metal prods or some shit like that, find a sadist that enjoys poking your feet. You know, if you like to be choked, find someone that likes to choke somebody. It's all about matching kinks. That's one of the reasons why a good dom is going to ask you what your hard nos are. Okay? They're also going to ask you what your favorite kinks are, your top list. And if anybody's been on F list, and you all know what the fuck F list is. If you're a furry, you know that fucking site. It's just like E621. Everybody knows E621. Everybody fucking knows what the fuck F list is. And if you don't, then you're just too young. On F list, you had 4 columns. You had your absolute no's, you had your maybes, you had your yes, and you had your always category. I think it was that set up like that, right? It was something very similar. Faves maybe instead of always, but yeah. And you will go through that list with your dom, and they will stay away from your no's because those no's are absolute. They should never be tried. They should never be tested. Those no's are there because you've gone through that shit and you know for a fact that you don't like it. Your maybes are the things that you might enjoy, might not enjoy, you're a little nervous about trying, and wouldn't mind if a dom would actually push those limits and have you experience those things with them. And maybe you had a bad experience a couple of times with your maybes, but every dom is different. Every dom does kinks differently. So if something's on your maybe list and you've only done it once and you didn't enjoy it, keep it on your maybe list. Just keep it on the low end of your maybe list. And when you really trust your dom, yes.
can we tell them about the website?
What website?
The BDSM test.
The one that we use?
Oh, BDSM test.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a great site.
Yeah,
it was bdmtest.org, I think it was.
If any of you guys who watch
BDSM.
this wanna figure out
Mhm.
where you are on the list of everything and stuff like that, go to the BDM test.
It's bdsm.org.
Yeah,
I will put a link in the description below.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For anybody
it'll
who watches
answer
this.
the questions. Answer the questions as honestly as possible.
Select if
it
you
nails it right in the head.
Yeah, and you can select if you want a longer test or a simpler test and quick one.
always go for the longer tests because the longer tests
Yeah, always.
are more accurate and they're more dead on, and always answer them 100% truthfully. Trust
Yeah.
me, you're not doing yourself any favors because you want to look like a sub or you want to look like a dom. Just answer it correctly. You don't even have to share the fucking results. Just for your own good, take the test, see what it says, answer truthfully. And that link will be in the description down below, okay? So, I mean, I know we didn't cover everything, and the world of BDSM and alternative sex is so large, we would never have enough time to cover it all. I know we wouldn't, and trust me, it took me 4 years to get through the list of kinks and fetishes, because I've tried them all. It's just too big of a world. But hopefully this gives you guys, the new people getting into it, and maybe some of you veterans that just were so stuck in your ways, maybe this video could have helped you look at yourselves from a different angle and go, how can I make myself a better dom, or how can I make myself a better sub, or how can I make my relationship with my dom or my sub better? And maybe learning these key points is what makes your relationship so much better. And if it does, then that's all I ask. And if you just watch this and you find it hilarious, or you for some weird reason get off on watching this video, that's everybody. It's to each their own.
It's you.
And I'm not gonna judge
You are
anybody
your
for
own
it.
person. You do
That's
what
you.
you want to do.
Exactly, Rex. You,
All
your
of
own
us have
person, do
our
what you
own.
want to do. I'm just saying, I would hope that this video helps at least one person in the world. And if it does, then it made making it worth the time it took to make it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. And I know comments is kind of a cesspool, but if we can, keep it for the most part positive. That'd be great. But you're all entitled to your own opinions. If you want to bash me for being a furry, go for it. Let your fucking heart out. But you know,
But just
like I
to
was
let you
saying,
know, we won't care.
think we won't care. We've been through it
We
all.
won't care.
You can say whatever you want to
We've
say
been
to
through
us,
it.
and it's not gonna affect us because we've been there. Anyway, I'm Malley, signing off. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves and be kind to everyone. Good night.